They called him the Diesel.
Crank up that diesel. Let's go.
He leaned across the table and he goes, "You need to get me back there. I'll make you famous."
And to Riggins, good hold. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone.
It's Riggo, the Diesel.
Hello and welcome to this 46th, I believe, episode of Riggo the Diesel, or it's season 2, episode 4. So
that's close.
Whichever one works for you. It doesn't make any difference to me. Well, unfortunately, Larry, we find ourselves back in here after another loss on Sunday.
Yeah.
Clearly, Dallas is got a good football team. They got a lot of talent, and they feel good about themselves. They, coming off the big win the week before against the Giants. So, where do we go with this? It's interesting because the very thing that I would have, I don't know, I'm not a gambler, so I'm not going to put any money on it. But before the season started, I clearly thought the defense is going to carry this team for a while and keep them in games. And, that was the way they would win. That the offense was going to take a while. We didn't know about the wide receivers, and, you don't know about your running game. And, there was a lot of uncertainty there. Now, all of a sudden, it shifted, gone back. I mean, who would have thunk this? And I certainly didn't see it coming, is that really it's the defenses where you're looking at going, gee whiz, what's going on here? And the offense isn't great, but I think if the average person, if you took a poll, I think they would say that it's better than we thought it would be. I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I think you're right. I think one thing is still to be determined. I think that, yes, everybody thought the strength of the team was the defense. Doesn't appear that way after 2 games. Now, you have 14 more games to go to prove that. Also, I thought going into the season, everybody thought, Redskins got a good running back room, got Darius Geis, got Aaron Peterson, got Chris Thompson. This is a team that's going to be able to run the football. Haven't been able to do that. Nobody thought that the wide receiving core was going to be sufficient. Passing game looks pretty good. I guess the one thing that you were expecting, which has really happened, is that Case Keenum has played error-free football. You were hoping that he would. He has no interceptions. Couple nice deep passes. I think he's a good leader. I think you can win with Case Keenum. But you can't win averaging 2 yards a carry, and you can't win giving up 30 points a game.
It's interesting because I listened to the radio a little bit this week, and the villagers are sounded like they're ready to head for the castle with the pitchforks and and all that stuff.
There's a moat, though. There's a moat around the castle,
but it doesn't make any difference because I think it's a little bit misplaced and a little bit premature, actually. And I think what's causing it is the very thing I talked about, is the fact that you look at this defense and you thought starting this season out that, hey, this could be a special defense. The players were feeling it. They were talking about it down in Richmond. You heard them. And all of a sudden they're kind of on their heels. And, that's one of those things where, that's got to get – to me, the running game – I'm not overly concerned about that, and I'll tell you why. And that's because I don't think Jay Gruden really is that guy. I don't think he's the coach that feels like that is – and he's hardly alone when it comes to this. If it's more the running game nowadays in the NFL, and there may be a few exceptions around the league, and I would say Dallas is one of them because they paid a lot of money to a guy they picked in the first round. The Giants will be another one because they are going to pay a lot of money to a guy they picked in the first round. In fact, I think he was the second pick overall. But if the running game works for teams on any given Sunday, they're going to use it. But if you shut it down, they're going to go away from it immediately. They're going to start throwing the football. And I think that Coach Gruden gets criticized because he doesn't run the football, but he's pretty typical, in my opinion, of everybody else around the NFL. If you're not having, and when I say have success, that first run better be for 5 yards at least. And then when you get another shot, it's got to be 5 yards, because if you come up with one or you lose yardage, God forbid you lose yardage, I think that right away it goes, we ain't going to be able to run the ball today. Now, maybe there is some legitimate criticism that you get away from it too quickly. But when you're talking about a guy that doesn't really, that I think gives a little bit more lip service to the running game because he really feels more comfortable throwing the football, I think that's what you're dealing with here. And I really don't think that, whether it's Darius Geis or Adrian Peterson or even Chris Thompson for that matter, or Mr. Smallwood, that it's really going to make any difference. You have to have success. with this franchise on Sunday, immediately get immediate returns on this, whatever it's called, immediate gratification, self-gratification, or it's going to move on to the passing game.
You know what? I don't think I can argue with you. You've said it all. Now,
that's the way it is.
Now, look around the league, and you do see similar styles happening. I also look around the league, especially this past weekend. I looked at a lot of the games, and I'm really not impressed with a lot of the football I'm seeing being played. And so that's the good news, John. And as much as we are pained to say it, and I think it does factor into our thinking that the two of the arch rivals of the team are Philadelphia and Dallas, and they are two of the better football teams in the NFC.
Yeah,
I think you got to say they're top 5 teams in the NFC. And you can determine yourself the AFC. You got a lot of teams that might have traditionally been there, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are falling on hard times due to injury. New Orleans Saints, hard times due to injury. So there's a long way to go. And if they could find a personality, whatever it might be, if it's the exact personality you're talking about, that's a little bit flipped from what you were thinking. Maybe you were thinking they're going to be able to run it first, pass it second, but play strong defense and win low-scoring games. Maybe that's not going to happen. Maybe you got to be able to put 30 points on the board with this football team because your defense is such that they're going to allow points, and your formula for success can't be what you thought it would be. But you played two of the tougher teams so far, so I don't know. Bears team, real strong defense. Bears team's offense is pretty weak. Now, say that now, they might blow up, but Trubisky's rated 32nd. He's completing 50% of his passes. Howard's no longer with them. He's with the Eagles. They got Cohen, who's a little scat back, fast guy. He can hurt you, but I don't think there's anything about their offense. Their defense, though, can be intimidating. So we'll see. I think it's a better matchup than these first two games, for sure. I also think the Redskins defense has better talent on it this year than they did last year, for sure, but it hasn't showed.
I do too. And I think part of that's the reason that the fans are so disappointed is that, they're already jumping to conclusions, which, like you said, you're 0-2 against two of the better teams. Unfortunately, they're in your division, but they're two of the better teams in the entire NFL, I'm guessing. So there's 14 games to play. Let's just calm down, breathe, as they say, and breathe, and I think everything will be okay. We're going to breathe, take a break, and come right back.
Sounds real good. Hey, you know what? Helping people improve their lives is what should drive business. That's the belief at Koch Industries, which employs more than 65,000 people across America. Team at Koch works together to meet the world's changing needs. Transportation, medical care, water filtration, household goods, energy-efficient building products, and everyday technologies, all while consuming fewer resources. See the innovations firsthand at kochindustries.com, John.
Well, now, if you're I guess this goes on audio, but for the people that are watching on video, you have to see that I am dressed in my work shirt. It is my O'Connor Plumbing work shirt, and don't be too stressed here. I won't be showing up at your house anytime soon to fix anything, but I probably could as long as it's very minor. I can deal with a few, I'm trying to think. Now, but you know what? Plumbing has traveled so far since I first used to mess with it.
Can you change a faucet?
I could, maybe. The only reason I say maybe, well, as long as it's just connections. In fact, I was getting ready to pull the drain on this one lavatory we have so we could come in there and do some work on the actual. It's one of those, what do you call it? It hangs off the wall, so it's starting to look like the Tower of Pizza. It's starting to lean a little bit. So
That's not good.
So anyway, yeah, I can. But now putting it back may be a whole other story. But anyway, let me tell you, O'Connor Plumbing. There's where the action is. If you have a plumbing problem, just give them a try. You'll never call another plumber. They're reasonable. They do a great job. 1-877-RIGGO-44. 877-RIGGO-44. You can tell them that I told you to call. They'll give you a good deal. They'll do it right the first time. And if it's too much and you can't afford it, they've got financing options as well. So give them a call. O'Connor Plumbing.
Hey, I'm bored, I'm broke, and I'm back.
Who's bored? Who's broke? And who's back?
I wanted to always see the redwoods. I wanted to see the Rocky Mountains. I wanted to see the Painted Desert, the Petrified Forest, the Grand Canyon. That was like the land that I always wanted to go to.
John Riggins.
Actually, I'm more concerned always about getting to Nirvana, but I've yet to find it, so I'm going to have to just keep
There's a bunch of ways you can get there, John.
I know.
You can get there from here.
I tried it with 90 proof, didn't work. So I don't know. There must be something else out there.
What makes a petrified forest petrified?
I think it's just time and maybe a little water. I think it's the ocean. I'm not sure exactly because it's actually you have cellulose, which is basically what trees are composed of, and it breaks down and basically sediment. It exchanges from that into a rock-like substance.
rock.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not sure if that. I'm trying to think if a petrified piece of wood is actually considered sedimentary rock. In other words, if you poured a little acid on it, would it all foam up? I don't know.
How do you cut down a petrified tree?
That I'm telling you, I want to see the chainsaw that does that actually.
that's
But actually, I
diamonds
think
on that chainsaw.
what you need is a cutoff saw. That you see them all the time. The highway department uses them. They're tearing up they saw concrete with it.
Okay, yeah, I know what you
I
mean.
got to get one. Yeah, and I'm telling you something. Running a cutoff saw, ew, the nastiest job in the world. All you are enveloped in a cloud of cement dust. It can't be good.
No,
it can't
you
be
got to
good.
wear a mask when you do that.
I would think,
Some
but I've
kind
seen
of-
guys do it without. But
That's
but
really
I don't think
manly.
they do it all day. It's just a real quick chopping
It's
off.
kind of dumb not wearing a mask when you do that, though.
Anything. In fact, you know what? I had an accident a while back, and I damaged my ear shooting a gun. And nowadays, when I go mow the lawn, I put on hearing protection and I put on eye protection. I went, you know what? I got 2 eyes and 1 ear now, although I can still hear out of it, not nearly as well. It's all of a sudden you kind of appreciate your organ, or I should say your sensory organs.
Yeah.
You can't abuse
I
them.
appreciate all my organs.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to be.
I mean, literally, you need them all, buddy.
Yes. Yeah.
Some are more important than others, but you need all the organs.
Well,
What are you laughing at at
I'm trying to think of where we're going to go with this segue into the Chicago game, but because
There's no transition from organs to east. It kind of sounds right. NFC East.
And like you say, it's two.
Well, you guys shocked me as I walked in here. You guys were talking about a point spread because it's Miami and Dallas. Is that true? They're playing this week?
Miami at Dallas.
Miami at Dallas, and the point spread is more than the 4 points that the Cowboys gave when they came to Washington.
yeah, it's a few more.
A little bit.
You're talking about double digits.
We're talking. It's almost triple digits, but not
It's
quite.
almost triple digits.
Well,
it's
it makes
a
it-
100-point spread.
When you hear it, when you hear the spread, you're going
I
to go.
haven't heard it.
"Hey,
I mean, you guys got me hanging by a thread
it's
here.
bizarre."
It's minus 21.
Minus 21.
Dallas giving 21 to clearly the Dolphins are throwing in the towel, which is bad for the league in my
Very
opinion.
bad. Very bad.
But
Don't like it.
that is not even the highest line on Sunday.
There's
So
a
it's got to be
higher line.
it's got to be New England and somebody. Oh, it's New England and the Jets.
New England and the Jets
Oh, at New England.
at New England.
25.
22 and a half.
22 and a half. Liable to go up.
And it's Tuesday.
Liable to go up when they confirm that Luke Falk will be starting at quarterback for the Jets.
Pretty remarkable.
Or whoever.
This early in the season.
Well, that line on the Cowboys has gone up a half a point because I looked at it yesterday and I think it was 20 and a half. And they said that it probably will keep getting higher until they can start laying
Luke
the
Falk
money
could
off.
do it, though. I had my eye
He's
on Luke Falk
dangerous?
for a couple years, and you know why?
Are you serious?
He played at Washington State, and when he was at Washington State, when he was a junior at Washington State, someone who went to his high school told me, keep an eye on this kid. He's very talented, and I kind of did. It's I think it's Powell High School in Wyoming. No,
Powell.
it's in Utah. Wherever my guy went to high school in
Gonna be
Utah.
Chris Cooley for the way out.
Cooley's High School. What's high
Powell,
school?
Powell, Wyoming, maybe you're thinking of.
No, he went wherever he went to high school. Luke Falk. Hey, Stevie,
Kick some boot.
look
booty.
it up. Somebody look it up. Where did Luke Falk go? Todd. Luke Falk went to
Logan High
White High
School?
School. Logan High School.
Logan High School.
Logan High School in Logan, Utah.
That would be it. Logan,
That would be
Utah.
Cooley's high school. So Cooley tipped me to Luke Falk, and I don't care what high school he went to. He's in for a long day. Okay,
That might not be enough.
We hardly knew you, Luke.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
20? How many?
22 and a half.
22 and a half.
Yeah, I don't
I
think.
don't know who
that
goes and
probably
puts
isn't.
who takes that bet and takes the Jets. You got to be just a hardcore Jet fan. They put up a large 3 at home last night.
This kind of reminds me. I'm talking about New England now. Of the year that they had the what do you call it? Video Gate. What was it called?
Spygate.
Spygate. Didn't once that broke out, Didn't they just? In fact, Washington played them, got beat 40-something, or they just started
They were a
crushing.
little angry.
Out of spite, they were just running up the score on everybody. Is that the year they went 16-0? I
Yes.
think, and lost.
And it's the year that David.
I'm starting to see. I think
you're very right. And that's the year that David Tyree caught that pass, and
Mm-hmm.
the Giants won that Super Bowl. That's the same year that the Redskins were wearing a uniform that you used to wear, which would have been, I think it was the R helmet. They were wearing. Did you ever wear that R helmet?
No.
Well, they're wearing some throwback uniform, and they were talking about Tom Coughlin has to win or he's going to get fired. Redskins up like 14-0 at halftime. Giants come back, score 21 straight points in the second half to win the game. Coughlin not fired. They go on and they beat an unbeaten Patriot team in the Super Bowl to win the Super Bowl. That was that year, and the Redskins played at New England that year. I want to say it was 56-3.
That's what I was going to say. It was a really lopsided game.
Carlos Rogers had a knee injury in that game, early in that game. He was knocked out for the year. It was ugly. Ugly early, Todd. You know what that is.
Okay, now what you got? Philly, and they're going to Detroit.
Philly hosts the Detroit Lions at 1 o'clock. Philly 1-1.
Guess the spread.
Guess the spread.
They're banged up, though. Both the receivers are hurt. Deshaun Jackson with the groin. Alshon Jeffrey has a calf. Dallas Goedert, their backup tight end, has a calf. Their quarterback came back after a concussion, so they're not 100%.
Who's this? Philly.
Philly.
So what are you saying? What's your spread?
I'm saying I hope they lose.
What do you?
I hope they lose the rest of their games.
I'm going to go with a -4.
Oh, we're picking spreads.
Go guess the spread.
Guess the spread. It's
Philly hosting Detroit.
Yes.
I say Philly by 7 at home.
7 at home.
Thank you. See,
-7.
Call me Larry the Greek. I am
All
Greek.
right.
Call me
After
Larry the
Larry
Greek.
went through all those injuries, it just kept coming down. I almost went -3.
Now the New York Giants and Daniel Jones just announced the starter.
Just was announced as the starter, and who are they hosting?
They are at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 4:05.
Oh, I want to say that is a 5-point Buck spread.
They're down there. I'm going to go Bucks and a -3.
-6.5.
6.5.
6.5. Tampa Bay.
But the Giants don't have any defense. Of course, Tampa Bay might not have any offense either. By the way,
Redskins
Todd's got an interesting. Before we do a little story time here, Todd's got some interesting stats on the Chicago Bears because they're one of the teams that this is their 100th anniversary as well.
Literally,
they
their
were
100th.
Exactly. They're one of the originals in with the NFL when it started. The Chicago Bears were a part of it. And it's stunning when you look at their quarterbacks, and because you can actually look at the Chicago Bears and go, Chicago Bears quarterbacks, who would they be? And you start scratching
Their current
the only one
quarterbacks?
I can think of, the one that first came to mind is Bobby Douglas because I played with Bobby.
Bobby Douglas, left-hander, great runner,
He was the
had 1,000
original
yards.
run RPO guy, except he just ran it. But Sid Luckman was somebody I thought of.
Sid
and after
Luckman. Bill
that,
Wade was
and
one.
Bobby, I went, I don't know.
Jim McMahon, Mike Tomczak.
But think about it.
Mike Tomczak.
100 years of football
You
and
can't think of
the
many.
vaunted Chicago Bear defense. Sid Luckman held almost all their passing records until Jay Cutler came along.
And now listen to this. How many quarterbacks, Todd, have they had since the Super Bowl era began? And that's what, 53 years?
53 years
How many starting
constitutes
quarterbacks?
the Super Bowl era. The Bears have sent 49 quarterbacks out to start at least one game.
Wow.
I mean, people think that there's been a lot of QBs going through here.
They have Eric Kramer. Eric Kramer there for a while.
Eric Kramer, he still has the single season passing yardage record of 3,838, which is nothing.
What about Jack Kincannon? Wasn't he a quarterback?
Jack Kincannon was a quarterback for the Bears. Very good. I said
right
Bill
before
Wade.
Bobby Douglas, I
Bill
think.
Wade was before Jack Kincannon.
Wade. I forgot about him as well.
So they've only had 3 quarterbacks in 99 years who have passed for more than 25 touchdowns in a season. 3.
Who would they be?
99 years.
Well, Cutler's one of
Jay
them.
Cutler.
Jay Cutler.
Eric Kramer.
And
Sid Luckman.
The Flying Dutchman. Is that what they called him?
Yeah.
Have they only, have the Bears only won one Super Bowl, the one with Jim McMahon?
Yes.
Of the modern era.
But they won a bunch of...
I mean, Super Bowl.
Yeah,
they won a bunch of world championships.
Yeah, they went to the Super Bowl and they were beaten by what, the Colts? Is that who beat them?
I think they beat the Redskins in a world championship game like 100-0.
No, it was 70.
73.
73-0. It's on the history wall downstairs.
It was pretty big. All right.
Back to the point of...
Did I succeed these? Did I
You
pass
did,
your
which
tests?
leads
a little
us
bit.
to, this is the chance for Monday Night Football, the spread, guess the spread, Redskins hosting the Chicago Bears.
Guess the spread. Redskins hosting the Chicago Bears.
Ooh, this is a game of ineptitude probably in the junkies.
How about pick 'em?
Well,
pick 'em. It would have been 3.
Washington gets 3 points.
Yeah, but maybe because the Bears won and the Redskins haven't.
Well, I know the Bears. Yeah, that ain't a bad. I'm going to go with pick 'em as well.
Washington getting +4. +4.
Really?
+4.
+4?
So jump on that early.
Home field advantage.
Jump on that early.
So wait a second. That means that the bookies are saying Washington, if it's just even game, that they would lose?
Correct.
You can see I'm a real gambler. I got to ask. I need direction at all times. All right, let's take a break and come back with a little story time.
You got it. Hey there, Larry Michael here. One of my favorite things to do is play games from the Virginia Lottery. You know that. They just introduced a new game. It's called Print and Play Rolling Jackpot. It's a Virginia-only instant win game. Starting jackpot of $50,000. The jackpot increases with each ticket sold until the jackpot is won. There are no play slips to fill out, no waiting for a drawing. Just purchase, play, and check to see if you won. That's that easy. $2 ticket can win 20% of the jackpot. $5 ticket can win 50% of the jackpot. And a $10 ticket wins 100% of the jackpot for each price point. The odds of winning top prize are 1 in 240,000. Look for it at your favorite Virginia Lottery retailer. Redskins defensive lineman number 93, Jonathan Allen, hates to lose. Hope he's back this week. He's teaming up with Papa John's and you to help donate to Sasha Bruce Youth Work, helping homeless children in our region every day. Team 93 needs you to make a winning day for your family and these special children. You'll get a large 2-topping pizza and an order of wings for just $20. And Papa John's will donate 93 cents to Sasha Bruce Youth Work for every single order. Play to eat, play to give, play to win, because nobody wants to lose.
Riggins. He's going to go all the way, unless Blackwood can catch him, and he can't.
They left the scoreboard up. I remember seeing Redskins 27, Dolphins 17. And it was that moment of truth where I went, damn, I'm a world champion.
John, when he walked, he had a little bop to him. And besides that, he had the booty out there. They nicknamed him Chocolate Chip.
Story time with Riggo.
The way he says chocolate
Still
chip
makes me laugh like the first time I heard it.
makes me hungry. I'm either wanting some ice cream or a cookie.
Joe sells a lot of insurance late at night.
What's that? Yes, I saw it last
all
night.
over the place.
Coco and I were watching a little. We got in a real quick. Have gun will travel. Oh. Once again, most preposterous circumstances you can possibly imagine. These guys were rappelling down the side. Just happened to have the rope with them. Interestingly enough, because they shoot off the horses like they were going to go far. So Pound was having to walk back to town with these other guys. But they happen to have the rope, and they're rappelling down the rope. Barehanded. They don't have a figure eight that they've got. They're just barehanded it. And I'm thinking, whoa, that ain't happening.
That's when men were men, John.
Oh, were they ever. Man, there's some calluses there. Anyway, I got a couple stories. Real quick, I got to tell you, there was a little tiff at my house last night. My daughters kind of got into it, and I got pulled into it myself. Well, I make this chicken, and I put a little barbecue sauce on it, put it on the grill, or, the broiler in the oven, pull it out. And so Coco, who is the youngest, she's really a very particular eater, right? It's a
little picky.
Oh, she drives me up a tree. So she's over there, and there's 6 pieces of chicken, and she's like, and then and of course, my older daughter, Hannah, kind of takes offense to the fact that little dude is over there cherry picking the chicken.
Yeah.
So she says something, and then Coco, in her inimitable way, gets sassy, I guess, according to Hannah. So anyway, they sit down at the table, and I said, okay, whatever, let's just get past this. I said, but I had to do the dishes this morning, and in the last couple of weeks, we've kind of, which is the first time I think our daughters have ever been asked to do anything around the house, we finally said, you guys are going to have to start doing the dishes, okay? So figure it out when,
you don't
whatever
have a dishwasher?
Huh?
You don't have a dishwasher?
Oh, we do, but still you got to get them in the
Clean
dishwasher.
them off. Oh, get them in the
take them off the table and bust the table, so to speak.
Yeah.
So anyway, I said, okay, so this week, it's Monday. Let's get the date. Let's get it started today. Who wants to do the dishes? Crickets. I went, okay, well, I'll tell you what, then let's flip a coin. And I said, I'm going to do it just like the NFL officials do it before the game. I got a coin. I got the coin. I said, I'm going to flip it in the air. I'm going to catch it, and then I'm going to take my hand off of it, and you can see whether it's heads or tails. Okay, everybody's in. Okay. So I flipped the coin. I asked, before I flipped the coin, I said, Coco, I said, you call it right now. Call it before I flip it, just like the NFL does.
Yeah.
And so I flipped the coin. She calls heads. Heads. And it wasn't but 15 seconds later, Hannah, who lost, looks at me and goes, why did you let Coco call it? Why did you decide to let Coco call it? And I said, well, she's the younger sister. I said, you're a college graduate. It was lost. She didn't want to hear anything about it.
No.
So anyway, it's still brewing.
How do you settle that? I mean,
well, the only way I could have done that is before that I would have said, okay, I'm going to flip a coin to see who's going to call the flip a coin. Okay, you guys good with
yeah,
that?
That's true.
And I'm going to call it. Okay, I'm going to call it. If it's heads, Hannah wins. Tails, you lose, dude. No. If it's tails.
Heads I win, tails you lose.
Yeah.
She could have deferred to the second half.
Deferred to next week.
Defer to next
I
week.
think she is deferring because there was very few words said this morning when she came through the house to go to work.
Rock, paper,
She's definitely deferring.
Rock, paper,
I don't know what
scissors.
she's deferring. Huh?
Rock, paper, scissors to determine who gets to pick the coin.
Well, that'd
you
be
do
the
that
way to
with
go.
both, and whoever wins
Oh,
the
that's
rock,
a good one. That's a good one.
That's like an elimination round.
This is
Larry,
what,
the next time I have this at home, a domestic situation, I'm giving you a call.
this is what Coach Gibbs should have done in 1985 to make the decision.
Oh, on the and that leads us into the story, and you would remember it. We go up to the Bears in 1985, and we jump out there to, I think, a 10-0 lead.
Correct.
And we're backed up on our 13-yard line. But before that, after that touchdown was scored, or the field goal, I can't remember, Jeff Hayes, who was the kicker.
Yes.
No, he wasn't the kicker. Mosley was the kicker.
Jeff Hayes was the punter.
He was the punter, but he also at that time he had such a strong leg because they wanted to rest Moses' leg for the field goals.
Off, too.
They decided to let Jeff do the kickoffs. Yes. Well, on that kickoff, when he kicks it down to Willie Gault, as Willie Gault's running it back 99 yards for a touchdown, Jeff Hayes is out there on the field writhing in pain because he's torn his groin muscle.
Oh, he's out.
So-
Can't punt. You need a volunteer somewhere.
There you have to find a punter. Now, as the
God,
story
I wonder who
goes, and
stepped
I don't
up.
remember this being the case, I thought I remember, pick me, coach, pick me. I can do it. But it says, I read this.
He
in the
returned
Chicago-
punts, didn't he?
Yes, he did that. I don't
So-
remember about the actual punting. But anyway, it came down to, I guess, Coach Gibbs went over to his two quarterbacks, one being Joe Theismann, one being Jay Schrader, and said, okay, which one of you guys can punt? Because they both, I guess, had, according to them, and Joe, being the starting quarterback, probably said, well, I can. And so Joe went with him. Coach Gibbs went with Joe Theismann. So Joe goes out there, and they snap him the ball. I mean, I give him credit. He caught the ball. I mean, I'm thinking, I'm going back there to punt. And I used to punt in high school. I'm thinking, I haven't done this in like 12, 18 years, something like that. I'm going, could have been. So he punts the ball, Larry. Do you recall how far the punt was?
2 yards? 1 yard?
You
backwards?
missed it. You missed it just by that much. 1 yard punt.
But he didn't completely whiff? Did he completely whiff?
No. He hit the ball.
Yeah.
But it went. I think it went up in the air, and basically the wind might have been blowing, and it comes down. They downed it on the 14.
Blowing that much.
Huh?
It wasn't blowing that much.
It was just basically straight up in the air.
Well,
It was like a jump ball. It was like people thought it was basketball.
He doesn't get credit for hang time, though.
Exactly. But and then what's his name? Must have been Willie Gault. Didn't have time to run down the field and call for a fair catch. It was such a short punt.
Joe, Robin, his wife, is just a beautiful lady, and I saw Joe recently, and he made there's the standard comment. A guy says he's got a beautiful wife, and what do they say? He outkicked his coverage.
Yes, I hear it
so,
all the time.
So he said that one time.
That he's outkicked his coverage.
He outkicked his coverage.
That's unique coming from Joe.
He said that because he's talking about Robin, and she's a beautiful lady. I said, you didn't against Chicago.
Oh, nice comeback.
He loved it. He thought it was very funny.
I hear that all the time, and it's true. But I've often thought, isn't it better to outkick your coverage?
Yeah.
When it comes to this kind of thing, if they say, you underkicked your coverage there, pal. That is the one where it's like, whoa, right up between the old scrode there. That's the old bolo punch right in the nads.
No, your coverage got there.
Private.
Yeah. There's some great sayings like that, though, that you can twist around. I'll kick your coverage is one.
Yeah, it's
that's
definitely
one.
that.
You hear a lot about that.
Coach Gibbs likes to use that.
I was very humored after the game, not because of anything I saw against Dallas, but Coach Gruden in his description to me in the locker room, and Stevie can find this tape. Actually, Stevie will insert this tape into this podcast somehow. Physically, she will do this. But he says to me, we played just a pretty good thing. These weren't slappies that we played.
It's not like we lost to 2 slappies.
So he actually used the word slappy during the interview, which got a chuckle out of me.
Yeah, I like
slappy,
that.
which
kind of reminds you of, what do you call that, the humor that used to be slapstick, I think.
Yeah, there's a word that comes after slappy, though, or the word slap that was used around here by a former coach. Which
rhymes with slapstick.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about it on the show, though, because I don't want people to get the wrong idea. But there was a former coach here who introduced me to that term, which I thought at the time, and this is, I can put you the era, it was when Joe Gibbs was here. And, of course, it was not Joe Gibbs who introduced me to that term. So you can guess about who this was over and over. If you guessed right, I probably would tell you.
I'm probably going to say on the defensive side of the ball.
I would go with that.
No,
it could have been offensive side.
And I'm going to say he's still coaching.
And
I'm going to say
coaching
he
here?
kind of shot his mouth off and it kind of got shut last night.
You are right on the money, sir. But that's
we'll let the rest of the audience figure that out.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. I mean, I think we might have stumped Riggo. He was a defensive coach with Joe Gibbs here, who was actually on TV last night, suffering mightily.
Because his defense was not playing well?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
So the word slappy.
GW.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about George Washington. GW?
GW.
The word slappy is a slang expression on a slang expression. Because slappy really isn't what...
Is it what do you call it, a politically incorrect?
It is. I mean, Todd was right. It rhymes with slapstick.
Right.
Slapstick.
Yeah, it rhymes with slapstick.
Oh, I think I know where you're going with that. Does it have anything to do with the male gender?
I don't know. There's probably...
if your name is Richard.
There's probably somebody named Richard here. I mean...
there we go. Yeah, it's all coming to me.
Segment
Richard.
It's all coming to me. Well, we better stop it right there, Larry.
That's a good way to end the podcast.
Yeah.
Just keep guessing, folks, what we're talking about. We'll tell you next week.
Riggins was the Redskins' leader on the field. He was also their leader off the field and after hours.
The 5 o'clock club basically was the Hogs getting together after practice for a beer or two in a little shack that was out there where they kept the equipment. And it was just offensive linemen. But, as it would be, John Riggins was in the club.
Locally owned Novec has the most reliable power in the region. And we all know how important being reliable is.
Especially with my electricity.
Novec provides electricity from multiple renewable sources.
Yeah!
And will soon include even more solar.
That's great!
And Novec offers convenient 24/7 online services.
I can pay my bill anytime, anywhere.
Novec.
Power you can trust.
Well, the new football season is almost here, and this team is not going to settle this year.
No way. They're focused on being the best. That's why they all went and got Hondas on clearance at the Honda Summer Spectacular event.
Because as we all know, if you want to be the best,
you have to drive the best.
Exactly.
Don't settle this football season. Get clearance pricing on a reliable award-winning Honda like the Accord, Civic, CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, and more. Don't settle. Get to the Honda Summer Spectacular event at your local Honda dealer today.